1 year ago, I was the first person on the planet to 100% Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Now, a year later, I am here to tell you that the game has changed irrefutably. It is a completely different game. And I was hoping that I would go to the Steam charts and see all these thousands of people still playing the game because I want this game to be successful. But when I look at holy Jesus, look at that. Oh my God, look at that. That is a massive dip.
What's good, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Christian here again with another video, and today we're reacting to CerosTv once again. Last time I reacted to him, it was about 3 months ago. We had just got the comprehensive patch that came along with Shallot as a character, and it was a more optimistic time for Sparking Zero. Right now, the last patch, in my opinion, was a complete failure. It put the game into a very dull and boring state. The characters, the DLC characters that got added, their kits are very boring and underpowered, so they didn't affect the game whatsoever. So a lot of us are kind of bored with the game. And to make it even worse, the lag issues this season have been horrendous. People don't even want to hop on ranked and try to play because the matches are so inconsistent. It doesn't even feel fun to play the game at times. So Sparking is in a lot of trouble right now. It's nothing new. The game has been in trouble before, but it's kind of sad to see because I thought after the Shallot patch, we had kind of gotten over some of those issues, but now we're right back to kind of like the dark ages of Sparking Zero again, where people would rather to just play casuals and quick play than play ranked right now. But I want to see what CerosTv has to say because I like his perspective. It's a perspective that's kind of like outside of the echo chamber that's the Sparking community. A lot of the Sparking creators, we all know each other at this point. We all share similar views. So it's good to get a perspective from an outside source, from somebody who knows the game, because most of the other creators that aren't Sparking creators, really, they don't know the game like that. They share their opinion, but they're missing a lot of the information. Zero actually knows the game and gives us an outside perspective, so it's a nice combination. So I like reacting to him when I get the chance. So let's get into it and see his thoughts to see what he has to say.
Massive dip from we once had. That is crazy. But what happened? What happened? Was it the balance patches? Was it the customization issues? Well, I'm going to talk about that in this video. Talk about everything that the game did wrong and did right and did airtight. We'll talk about all that. So let's get right into it. I want to start with what I feel to be the first thing that really stood out to me when I beat the game. There was a lot to do. There was a lot to rank up with. I got the Z rank. Life was good. But there was no customization. There was no cosmetics. There's no Black Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. What happened to Black Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta? You remember Black Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta? I remember Black Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I wanted to play as Blue Cell. They could have had a bunch of different color swaps for Cell. We could have played as Cell Dorado.
So at this point, we're beating a dead horse, but yes, the game is lacking customization options. But if you watch my last couple videos, I mentioned even if you add cosmetics to this game, it's not going to save this game because the gameplay needs to improve. The netcode needs to improve. The lag issues are horrendous, like I said. And the actual character kits are not exciting, okay? So you didn't change the game enough this time around to make us excited to revisit these characters and look at them in different ways. And that is why the game gets boring over time. That's why people kind of want to quit the game, because there's nothing new to do, even on ranked game modes. If you're not going to add game modes, then you need to spice the ranked experience up. You can't just leave it the same for months at a time because you're just bleeding players at that point.
That would have been so cool. I want to see some what-if characters. Dragon Ball Z, Raging Blast 2, there was a Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. There was already a Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. And there was a Super Saiyan 3 Broly in the game as well. Those two characters were super cool because we didn't suspect that. In Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2, we had Tiencha.
I agree completely. We should have had more what-if characters. And not only that, that would have gave us more characters in the roster to kind of balance these DP tiers out. If you give Yamcha and Tien a fusion, that would be a pretty dope concept. And if you make them high DP enough, all of a sudden Yamcha and Tien have use in DP battles. So honestly, that's a really great idea. We need more what-if characters that are actually viable and usable in the game. What I don't want them doing is adding what-if characters that just get wasted because they're weak as hell, mid-tier trash, like they like to add constantly in this game for no reason, because you could quite easily make these characters viable and good in the game to use so that they don't get wasted with just a little bit more effort.
This was the greatest opportunity we had. Everybody went crazy about it. Yo, this was this was you showing us you could have done it, but you didn't. In terms of us showing this, we got nothing for it. And you can't even use the model of Gohan Black without getting deeply into the files. This goes hand in hand with the custom battle mode.
At this point, we need a free release of Gohan Black to the player base. A free update, just release Gohan Black. This is ridiculous. The character's already in the files. He's there. He's almost ready to be used. Just release the character at this point. It's ridiculous that we haven't got the character at this point.
What was this? It should have been the crown jewel of Sparking Zero. This should have been the everything. But it barely even glitters. The arena setups are limited, the rule sets are basic, and there's a baffling lack of sliders or scenario creation. You can't even tweak transformations mid-fight properly.
Let me add this too, because I'm more of a PvP player, but I like playing PvE as well. I like playing the computer. I like just getting on and playing single player, and I would do that if the AI was actually good. I want to add that as well. The AI is not good enough in this game. The AI doesn't play like a real person. They improved it a little bit for this time around for Legendary Warrior Face Off, but he still does like random stuff that a human would never do. They don't even follow up their rush strings. They don't follow up their vanish wars. They just let you off the hook constantly. They don't put pressure on you. They don't have even approach setups that are basic that we all do in ranked or in even in quick play. And because of that, it doesn't feel fun to play the AI. We need to improve the AI. And I'm going to come out with a video kind of showing how bad the AI is and how it could be fixed. What should be added to this AI to make it feel like you're playing an actual person in ranked modes or something similar, because we need that for us to have fun on the game. I don't like playing just a marionette that doesn't even behave like a normal player. It's not fun, and they need to fix that, or else it's going to affect every single player mode that they add. Okay, so that's a huge problem that no one talks about, but I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to make a video on it.
The tools were there, the passion was there, and the expectations were sky high. Fans weren't asking for much. Just to be trusted with their own fun. That Sparking Zero feels more like Sparking Contained.
I'm going to be honest, there's only a couple games in history that have achieved the ambition that Sparking kind of had. Because Sparking has a lot of ambition. It's trying to be kind of like a fighting game plus a party game plus a content creation platform. It's trying to be everything all at once, and it's succeeding at nothing. And there's only a couple of games in history that I can even think of that kind of achieve something like that. One of them is Smash Bros. The other one is an FPS, actually, Halo 3. Halo 3 had an amazing campaign mode. Multiplayer was elite, and it had something called Forge, where people could create their own maps, create their own games and stuff like that. And it was so groundbreaking at the time. This was back in 2009, and no one has seen kind of like an FPS do that. And it just broke the mold for gaming probably forever, right? Especially on console, right? Because on PC, we have mods and stuff like that. But on console, no one had ever seen that before. Halo 3 achieved it. And Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, in my opinion, wanted to be something like that. Like, it wanted to have a good story mode, a good online fighting, PvP platform. It wanted to have content creation platform as well. It wanted everything all at once. But in order to achieve that, you need to have supreme passion, time, and resource to do it. Okay. And if you don't have the time and resources, then don't attempt it. Just do one or two things at an elite level instead of spreading out all your resources all at once. That's the mistake that Sparking made, is that they spread out their resources too much and just didn't have the time and resources to make it happen. Okay. If I were them, I would have focused on making the online experience elite, and I would have added one or two single player game modes that were elite as well. If you did that, we wouldn't be complaining about Sparking. If you had two game modes that were one single player and one co-op, and you had the 2 online modes, quick play and ranked, DP and singles, all of us would be okay with that. We didn't need the kind of like the content creation side of this, because this took up a lot of resources. All the menus take a lot of resources. And then the story mode was very lackluster. In my opinion, the story mode should have been consolidated into just one long story, not multiple characters, all them little fights that got wasted. And you could have made them big set pieces, because you could do team battles. You could put multiple characters in one set piece, so you don't have to create so much stuff. They tried to do too much, and because of that, the game suffered a lot for it. They really should have focused on the battle system, so we get a finished product from the start, and focused on a couple of elite online modes, and then consolidated that story mode, and Sparking would be a lot better for it. And maybe you would have had more resources to add some of these what if characters, some of these customizables and stuff like that. We'd have a totally different view of Sparking. But because you try to do too much and just didn't have the time and resources to do it, the game suffered a lot for it.
Superhero, and they got characters from Dragon Ball Daima, which is not bad. I enjoy the characters, but there should have been a what if pack to add in those weirdo characters, to add in the characters I was talking about previously, to add in the Super Saiyan 3, perhaps Gohan. That would have been fun. Super Saiyan 3 Teen Gohan, that would have been outstanding. Maybe even Tiencha. I would have loved Tiencha. Maybe even a Saiyaman fusion with a Cell Jr. Or maybe a Broly and, I don't know, baby mixture. Something of that variety. We could have had so much in the game, but nothing feels as though the game is actually trying to make it feel unique or different in any capacity.
Now, this take I kind of disagree with. I've been on record before saying I don't want so many what if characters, because the game is just gonna go into full chaos, wacky mode. And he disagrees with me. He wants the game to be more wacky. Now, where I do agree is that we need more excitement in the game, and adding more characters at this point is not gonna bring excitement, because of the fact that we already have 200 characters. We already have so many characters. Adding more characters is gonna do nothing to this game at this point. In my opinion, we need to spice up the kits for the characters we already have. We need to boost these characters, make them stronger, give them more unique stuff to do in the game, so that when I pick a character, he feels unique versus picking a different character. Like, let's buff these characters. Let's make these characters better. And that would bring a lot more excitement gameplay-wise than adding just another mediocre character, regardless if he's a what-if wacky characters. At the end of the day, if the kits ain't strong, you're going to get bored playing the character. So they need to address that first. We have too many supers that don't work, too many abilities that just suck and go unused, and we need to boost those, give them a reason to be in the game.
I was going to talk about DP battle mode, but I'm going to talk about single battle mode first, because single battle mode was really important now. Back in the day, you would only see fusion characters because they started off with 4 slots of health. You would see Ultra Instinct Goku. You would see Vegito. You would see Gogeta. You would see Beerus. You would see all these characters, and you would think to yourself, is anybody going to pick Tien? Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. Look behind me. That's right. I'm picking Tien. And I'm going to show you that Tien is one of the greatest characters to ever exist in the game. What they did was a balance adjustment that made everybody's health equalize within the game. This made it so whoever you picked within the game had the same health and stats on single battle mode.
Now, let me clear up a misconception, because, like I said, CerosTv is not part of the Sparking community. He does play Sparking and he knows the game, but he doesn't know it to the level of like a Sparking creator. So stats are not equalized, okay? People can't pick TN right now in rank modes. They will get absolutely washed because people are using Blue Gogeta, MUI in the fusions again. And why is that? Because Bandai decided to get rid of HP regen on transformations, and 10 DP characters just have better stats. They have more follow-ups, and they're just better overall. So right now, we're right back to where we started. The fusions are meta again. The 10 DP characters, so you're going to run into Beerus, Blue Gogeta, and MUI when you go into ranked. And that's pretty much it, unless someone picks like a random off, 7 DP character or whatever. But you're not going to see TN, Yamcha, and stuff like that in ranked game modes because those characters are not any good. Now, do I think that's a problem? Actually, I don't, okay? In singles, I don't believe we should expect that all 200 characters should be viable, okay? In singles, what I say is that if you can make at least 6 DP characters and above, somewhat viable. You have good balance in singles. I always think 10 DP characters should be better, okay? And they will be better. The problem is we need to make sure that players have options when picking characters. And right now, Blue Gogeta is just the best character in the game. A lot of people are realizing that MUI and Blue Gogeta are just the way to go. And a lot of the reasoning for that is because Bandai decided to nerf everything around them. Okay, so they nerfed shotgun ki blast damage in general. They nerfed special ki blast. They actually buffed Blue Gogeta's ki blast, and he has a 1 SP Stardust barrier. Okay, so Bandai nerfed a lot of things to the ground. They nerfed HP regen on transformations, and the characters around those two characters just don't have the tools to really deal with them. Whis is another character that just stands alone as probably the best character in the game because he didn't receive a lot of nerfs. They nerfed his super somewhat, but honestly, like stats wise and just kit wise, he just has the best abilities in the game. I don't believe those characters should be nerfed. I just believe the characters around them should be buffed. Okay, just give other characters the tools to compete with those characters, and you probably wouldn't see them as much as you do, or you wouldn't feel as bad playing against them. But I don't want any more nerfs. The game has been nerfed enough. Okay, it's time to bring back some excitement, bring back some tools so that people could revisit these characters in a different light, and maybe we could get some excitement back in the game.
I love it to this day. That was great. This didn't happen back in the day. Nowadays, Sparky Zero made this adjustment and it feels great. But
funny enough, you could still win with low DP characters back then. You just have to be supremely skilled. I had plenty of videos of me beating Beerus with Cell Jr. and Krillin fighting Whis and almost winning and stuff like that. But it was just because I played the game a lot. And especially back then, I would say I played, enough to be above, the majority of the player base. But right now it's just easier to win with those characters, but they're still worse. They're not as good as the 10 DP characters.
where one thing gets fixed, another thing gets incredibly broken. That's right, ladies with gentle hands. We're going to talk about something that is irking my soul and messing me up. DP battle mode is lore accurate. If you pick a strong character in DP battle mode, they are incredibly powerful. They are just ridiculously busted. They may be the strongest in the game. To the point where people are now having a greater variety of characters, but it's only the strong characters. Nobody's picking the weaker characters because it is more beneficial to pick a character such as Broly or Kid Buu.
Now, I don't think this is actually a problem. Okay, this is just a shift in meta, and like I said, metas need to shift for the game to remain exciting. Okay, so I think it's actually a good thing that they shifted away from the mid DP characters and the low DP characters because we have something new to go experiment with. The problem is the high DP characters are actually just too tanky. Okay, that's the problem. It's not that they do too much damage. It's just they have too much defense. You can't kill them with mid DP characters, or even a 7 DP character has a terrible time trying to kill a 10 DP character, and that's the issue. I want characters to all take more damage, okay? I want the 10 DP characters to also take more damage so that matches go faster and they're more exciting, okay? So I want the damage buff to remain. I want mid DP characters dying fast just as they do now, but I also want the 10 DPs and the 9 DPs to take more damage than they do now so that we can kill them faster as well. That would fix a lot of the issues in DP battle. It wouldn't feel so daunting playing against them because you could overcome them with good neutral play. But right now, even if you win neutral like 5 times, you're not downing a Whis with freaking Super Saiyan Goku. It's not happening. You're not doing enough damage, and he could just heal that back. And it shouldn't be that way. So let's nerf the defense on these high DP characters, but leave the damage values boosted as they are right now. That's in my opinion what they should do.
If you transform mid battle, you would get such a rapid surge in power that it would be disgusting and ridiculous. This is on top of the advent of what they did to giant characters. And Wheelo is a shell of his former self, I want to say, but he's not bad. He's just a little bit of a shell of his former self. He used to be one of the most devastating characters in the entire game. But Giants got an overall nerf. See that move I'm doing right there? That used to be an unblockable. Yeah, that used to be unblockable. You could do that infinitely with giant characters, and you would just wreck shop and destroy them, and it would make no sense.
Giants being overly nerfed is actually like a Spike Chunsoft problem that they keep repeating. It's like they want to over nerf things. There was a point where they nerfed giants enough, and we are like okay with it. We are like, okay, giants are in the right spot. But then patch after patch, they just kept nerfing giants for no reason. No one was playing giants when they kept nerfing giants. Like it got to a point where it's like, okay, giants are good, leave them alone. And they just kept nerfing them over and over every patch for no freaking reason. And that's a problem that Shunsoft has. They just over nerf things. Like the air palm, right? So the air palm, all you had to do was put a cooldown on it and make it vanishable or something similar. But they just made it deflectable. So you could just flick R1 and just deflect all air palms. So now the air palm just sucks and no one uses it. That's terrible. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they keep nerfing things into the ground. It's too much. Like they need to calm down with the nerfs. Like I said, bring some excitement back into the game. Buff some of these things again. I think Giants need a buff right now. Now, how would I buff Giants? I don't know because I don't play Giants like that. But they really do need a buff in some kind of way because right now they're just trash. Every time I transform into a giant, I get absolutely destroyed, and there's not much that I could do about it. And that needs a change, in my opinion.
People blame me for the Giants for a long time, and I'll take the blame. Yeah, I'll take it. But I'm not taking that blame for the androids. I didn't play the androids. The androids ruined the whole tournament. I don't know if you remember when the androids just ruined the tournament.
And that's why I'm kind of honestly, like now that you mention androids, I'm kind of afraid of what they're gonna do to androids if people keep complaining. That's why I was watching an OPAC video. He's like, "Oh, we need to nerf Whis, bro. Stop asking for nerfs, bro. Like, no offense to OPAC or anybody else who wants nerfs. Stop asking for nerfs because how much more can we nerf this game? Like, I went into the comment section, there was somebody saying like, "Oh, we need equal stats for singles." It's like, bro, they already took the DP bonuses away. They already took health regional transformations away. They already took away special key blasts. They took away so many damn things from this game. I feel like asking for nerfs right now is just out of touch. Like, you guys are just out of touch asking for that shit because the player base it just fell off a cliff. People are not excited to play this game right now. Asking for more nerfs, super out of touch take in my opinion, and we shouldn't be doing that. We need to bring back excitement for this game if we want casuals or anybody else who just quit the game to come back and try to play. And if you keep taking away tools from the players, regardless if they're comp players or casual players, they're not going to want to come back, guys. Like you want to make this game as dull as possible. I don't approve of that. I don't agree with that. No offense to anybody, but like, bro, no. We need to buff things. We need to bring tools back. We need to kind of bring them back in a balanced way so that we could bring some excitement back to this game, okay?
That sucks. But now the characters are balanced. Nobody picks androids that much anymore. A lot of characters got nerfed into the ground. And this is retroactive change the community wants. And the devs listen. And that is something I cannot express my joy in enough. It was beautiful. This is where I want to talk about what I really want for Sparking Zero in the future. I think Sparking Zero is a beautiful, polished love letter to Dragon Ball fans. But let's not kid ourselves. It's a love letter that cuts off mid sentence. The bones are strong. It's Dragon Ball. The combat is crunchy. The visuals, flawless. I love them so much. But it feels like we got handed a stunning sports car with no gas in the tank and no permission to leave the driveway. It has that almost energy, like it's leaning over the cliff of greatness but afraid to jump.
You know what Sparking Zero feels like right now? It feels like we got handed a sports car. And initially, it had like a V8 engine in it, right? But the car didn't function properly, right? So we took it to the shop and they brought us back the car fixed, but they put a 4-cylinder engine in it instead. Okay, that's what Sparking Zero feels like right now. It feels like it's a shell of its former self in terms of excitement and just like cool shit in the game. There's nothing really cool in the game no more unless you're kind of like a compy player who knows movement tech and stuff like that. That's still cool. But as far as like character kits, they're so dull right now. Every character just feels the same. They don't play uniquely, and there's no like cool things to do in the game with abilities anymore. And that's a problem. That's a problem because this is Tenkaichi, man. We want some excitement. We want some cool, powerful characters to play with. And right now, everyone just feels the same. If you're not a comp player, there's not a lot of fun to be had right here, and that's a problem.
Sparking Zero is missing that wink to the fans. The absurd, delicious fan service that says, We know this makes no sense. That's why it's incredible. Where are the wacky combos? Moveset mix-ups. Right now, a lot of characters feel like palette swaps with minor tweaks. Goku's different forms should all feel like separate characters. Gotenks should be a tornado of chaos. Nappa should move like a boulder. We have tournaments right now, but there's no goofy rules that we can actually implement. Where's the survival mode? Where's that? I'd love a survival mode. That'd be cool. We don't get any of that. It's upsetting because the ingredients are all there. We just need a recipe book to go with it. Wouldn't that be great? Sparking Zero is good. Really good. It is great right now. But Dragon Ball has never been about good or great. It's been about more. More yelling, more hair, more dumb power levels, more impossible wins. The game has so much potential sitting right under the surface, like sand, waiting to be pushed past their limits. But I don't think it's a matter of fixing the game. It's a matter of unleashing it, setting it free. We just give us more.
But yeah, shout out to CerosTv. That was my reaction to CerosTv. I always appreciate his perspective. Like I said, it's kind of like an outside perspective, and he always brings interesting points. The sparking creators, we can become kind of like an echo chamber at some point. But Zero agrees with me. We need to bring more excitement to the game, more crazy stuff, more powerful kits for the characters, more unleash the game, unleash the characters, bring excitement. That's the issue with sparking right now. It's very dull. There's no reason for people to come back. And please, for the love of God, fix the netcode issues. That the connection is another thing that completely holds back this game. And until you fix that, nothing you do is gonna matter. It doesn't matter if you could add 10,000 maps if you can't even play on the maps. It doesn't matter if you add 1,000 characters if you can't even play the characters without the game skipping frames and just like you missing all your super counters. Okay, so please, for the love of God, fix that. And let me know what you think about my comments. Let me know if you agree with Zero or you agree with me, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.